Hello there! Welcome to the mill. My name is James, and Dusty has once again very kindly allowed me to take over the channel for the week. Today I will be talking about the fifth of the original 5 Scythe factions in the Scythe Saturday series. That is Polania. Polania is interesting because it will focus on 2 aspects of the game that I haven't talked very much about yet so far, and that's encounter cards and the factory. Encounters are spaces that you will find one on your starting peninsula and usually one or another nearby. They're marked with this compass, and when you land on an encounter with your character, you'll draw an encounter card that will have 3 options. Normally these aren't a big deal in the game. You might pick up 1 or maybe 2 over the course of your game. But Polania has an ability that interacts with those encounter cards. That's Meander. It allows you to pick up to 2 options per encounter card, whereas the other factions only get 1. These encounter cards often will either give you a resource for free, or have you exchange one resource for some other type of resource. Polania being able to pick 2 of them often allows that player to gain the type of resource that may be necessary to exchange for something else, and this opens up a lot of possibilities for the Polania gamer. The reason that the factory interacts with the encounter cards in Polania's ability is the factory gives you an extra move, allowing the Polania character to move 3 hexes, and this combined with the mech ability, which of course also applies to the character, Submerge. It allows you to move to and from lakes, and move from any lake to any other lake. This gives the Polania character a lot of movement all across the board that few other factions can rival. It's not uncommon to see a Polania player rushing for the factory at the start of the game, and then spending the rest of the game bouncing all over the board, collecting those encounter cards. Now, of course, my board down here is going to determine what type of strategy I'll be going for. We see that I'm going to be well rewarded for picking mechs, but I don't have any metal in my starting area, so I'm actually going to start off with a trade to start working towards that metal that I need. And then I'm going to want to move as well, because it's important to start getting those encounters as soon as possible. In addition to metal, I'm also going to pick up some oil, because I see that my board has a combo that I really like, and that's allowing me to trade and then immediately spend the 2 food that I trade for to gain a recruit. And I've talked regularly throughout these videos over how powerful the recruit action is, so being able to get it in an upper action and then a lower action is always very powerful. And I'm going to go ahead and start producing as well. So we're ready for our first mech. And our first encounter card. I definitely like getting a worker. And there's the oil that I'll need to make that upgrade that I want. 2 popularity for 1 recruit is, I don't know if that's a great deal, so I'm going to go for the 2 food and the 1 popularity. And here's my first mech. And I'm going to go for that Submerge mech. This is a good time to pause and take a look at the other mech abilities. In addition to Submerge, we also have Riverwalk, and Riverwalk can be seen here. So where can I go as Polania? We can go into Saxony. We can go into Crimea. We can go into Rusviet, and we can go into Nordic, so I can potentially move into the home peninsula of any of the other factions. And that is via villages and mountains. We've already talked about Submerge. Camaraderie is really interesting. Normally, when you have a combat that involves workers from another faction, you lose popularity if those workers get sent home, and that can be quite a negative on your game, as popularity is a scoring multiplier. Camaraderie allows you to not lose that popularity. So if you know that you're going to be attacking and you see that there will be workers involved, you'll definitely want to pick that one early on. And then the classic +1 speed. I'm going to start using this oil. And I would like to improve. Move is always a good one. And there's that enlist that I really want. So here we can start on the recruit. And I'm pretty good on my popularity and my power, so I'm going to go with combat cards. And I already get a combat card from it. Thanks, Crimea. I am ready to start moving towards that all-important factory. And I'm going to bring one of these workers with me because I would really like to start working on one of these mountain hexes. This is mainly just to spread out control. Polania is another one of those factions that spreads out very easily. Polania has high movement due to that submerge ability. And a really neat thing about Polania, in fact it is happening in this game, is that Crimea and Rusviet will be unable to challenge any of my mechs or my character when the mech or character is on the water. So that means that I can just basically leave my mechs in the water. They'll always count as those extra hexes for me, and I don't have to worry about it. I can attack when I need to, and I don't have to worry about being attacked in return. So I didn't set this up intentionally, but this is actually, these are two really good opponents for Polania because of that. If Nordic or Togawa were in the game, I would be more cautious with my character and mech on the water. And I'm going to keep working on my mechs here and my recruits. And of course we want that extra coin for making mechs. Now I'll be getting 4 coins for 1 mech. And now it's time to find out what my factory card is going to be. Okay, we have some solid options here. Oh, I really like this one that lets me build buildings and also gain popularity for 2 coins. Gonna go for that one. And here's my mech that will nicely reward me now. So you'll notice that I placed my mech on the village, and I like to think of villages as kind of little bases in Scythe, as almost a secondary home base, since that's where my workers will be produced, and since in this case it's also adjacent to a lake, it allows me to then grab those workers as they're produced and move them wherever I'd like them to be across the board. Here's the first factory move. I have some really solid options here. This is something else I haven't talked about very much either, and that is the structure bonus. So in this case, it's over the tunnels. I happen to have a worker right on a tunnel, so that's where the first one is going to go, and it's going to be the mill. And now I get to do my... Now you can see here, after I've clicked my character, just how powerful this movement is. There are very few hexes on the board that I can't get to right now. So what I like to do early on when I already have this factory card and my opponents don't have their factory movement yet is I like to start essentially taking the encounters that would be close to them. So this is the one that Roosevelt would probably go for. This is the one that Crimea would go for. I tend to think Crimea is just a little bit stronger than Roosevelt, so I'm going to go grab this one away from Crimea. Popularity is always good. And I don't want to pay it to gain metal, so I'm going to pay some money to enlist a recruit. And okay, so one thing that's interesting here is this factory action that lets me build, and this build action down here. These are separate actions, these are different. So putting the popularity bonus on this build, I'm actually not going to be doing this build throughout the game. I don't know if I'll be doing an upgrade again either. In this case, I'm just going to look at what my opponents have. Neither of them have any wood, but Roosevelt has some oil, so we're going to go for that one next. You'll notice that I haven't produced a lot of workers, and that needs to change pretty quickly here. Because I do want to get the maximum worker star. I basically always get that in any game of Scythe I play. Food or wood, it doesn't really matter. I guess I'll go with the food since the recruit action pays a few more coins than the build. I really don't think I'll be doing either build or upgrade again. I was talking earlier about how I can be on the water and neither of my opponents can. And sometimes that can make Polania a pretty aggressive faction, as long as Togawa and Nordic aren't in the game. Any other combination, and you can really sort of bully the other factions by being able to get on the lake, attack them, and they can't attack you while you're on the lake. I don't have someone else on a tunnel, so I need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy. Uh, yeah, see, I can go over here to be near Roosevelt. I'm gonna move that mech over there just to wait near Roosevelt in case Roosevelt leaves a character or a mech or even a worker with some resources a little undefended. And I'm gonna go ahead and move this guy, move him over to here actually, just to kind of block Roosevelt a little bit. And this mech, I'll grab a worker. I'm gonna drop him off over here, I think. Get a little bit closer to Crimea, just in case Crimea moves out of the starting peninsula. So you'll notice I use these two metal that were now undefended. I'll do the same thing again. Get on the village, ready to send out more workers. Now I can build something else. It really doesn't matter. I'm just doing these sort of for the for that structure bonus at this point. And we will keep moving the character around, making sure to bring my resources with me. That is one of the downsides with the strategy, is sometimes you can find yourself carrying a lot of resources around that you can't really use. So you do want to be careful, making sure that you're moving to spaces where you won't get attacked. So I think in this case, I'm going to go all the way over to here. That's pretty far away from the other characters in next. $2 in popularity is easy. I don't like paying popularity. That'll get me a star. Yeah, I really don't want to pay the popularity, so I will grab the last recruit. There's my first star. And let's see, what else do we need to do? We do need to keep going with the workers. Don't have a lot of metal there. I'll grab another food. And you can see as the other players are doing different things, I'm getting all of these recruit bonuses. Recruit is just such a powerful action in this game. I need to do another move before I can drop off another building. So I'll see if I can get to another encounter with my character. So I'm going to do that. And I don't have the camaraderie ability yet, so I don't want to attack this hex. I'm going to move this guy here. And I'm going to put this one on the lake just in case I don't want to get attacked. I definitely want to build that structure since I'm now... Let's see. Well, it's not on the tunnel. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll go ahead and drop it off. I'll go ahead and drop it off there anyway. And for the second one, again, I'll take the popularity. So it's not uncommon for Polania to end up very popular by the end of the game, and that's going to be a powerful scoring multiplier for the Polania player. Here's the building I actually did want to build over here. And I'll take my move again. Again, trying to stay away from a place where I can get attacked by mechs or characters. Popularity is solid. And I can drop off my final mech for my third star. Hopefully this is kind of giving you an idea of how the strategy works. You just bounce all over the map, grabbing all these different encounter cards, getting extra resources, dropping things off wherever you can. I need to look at how I want to finish up here. There's my fourth star. So at this point in a game of Scythe, we're around 19. Should be finishing up pretty quickly. And I'm going to take a look at combats that I'd like to do. So let's see here. That one can't get to a combat, and of course that one then can't get to a combat either. These These two could do a combat there. All right, so we were looking at two separate combats that I would need to finish the game on this turn, and they're both against Rusviet. Let's take a look at Rusviet's. Rusviet has decent power. But I'll try it and see what happens. So I'm going to send this one over to here. I can move this one on here. That'll give me the extra combat card there. And this one can go. So we'll do this one first. Max out. I know I'll win that one. And I do want to use camaraderie. Don't want to use the popularity there. And I know I can win this one as well. So that's the game. So, hope that gives you a good overview of how this strategy with Polania works. How do you beat something like this when Polania is running around grabbing those encounters? You definitely want to try to stop the character. You want to work on your mechs, on your speed abilities. You want to try and block those encounter hexes with workers or with mechs if you can. But it's very strong. This is a good strategy. Anytime I find that I am Polania, this is what I'm going to be doing. So I hope this was helpful and interesting to you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.